Yes, indeed. We're giving you what you need and even more than that. Welcome back, everybody. This is Thoughts of the Week podcast. And I was paying attention a lot online, the words being spoken, people talking about this particular bill. You've seen some of the Democrats talking about it, the Republicans talking about this bill, which I think has been put into action now, law. And they say Trump signed that. And of course, when you first hear something, if they're against the person, they're going to automatically say it's this, it's that. And I just thought, well, I keep hearing everybody say, oh, it's this, or don't do this, or this going to happen and that's going to happen. And I don't know if it's based off of feelings and emotions and not trying to go with any type of information or fact, right? Just a lot of talking. And I'm starting to really believe that some of these folks that are on Twitter, that are on TikTok, that come on Facebook or whatever platform, social media platform you go to or listen to, I'm really in the mindset of thinking some of these folks are the ops. They're the Democratic ops, or depending on what the situation is, they're the Republican ops. But they're coming up and showing their faces sometimes. Like if you go on TikTok, sometimes they might show their face. Most times not. They always have a picture or avatar. Some are pictures of themselves and some aren't pictures of them at all. That in itself is suspect. I mean, to a degree. If you're an honest person, you're not showing your picture of yourself, and it might be because due to your employment or something to that effect. That's understandable. I can see that, although I still have some other things to say about that, but that might be for another time. But I can understand that to a degree. But other than that, there might be some other little small things here and there, I guess. Nothing I'm going to sit down and contemplate thinking, because we're going to get into this real quick. But outside of that, basically, I see an issue when you can't show your face from time to time, or you can't post a picture up as your avatar when you're doing these live panels or these live audios, like if it's Clubhouse, if it's Twitter Spaces, if you're on Twitter Live, if you're on Facebook Live or Twitch or whatever, what have you. It gives a sense of oppiness. You are the op. You are the opposition. You are the opponent going against somebody else. And I really think that there's a lot of people, because TikTok is becoming the thing now. And so I think there's a lot of ops on TikTok spreading a lot of stuff. And unfortunately, people are going with the emotion of what is getting said and not sitting down and thinking. I guess that's when you say critical thinking, or sometimes I like to look at it more as because people using the word critical thinking is starting to get kind of watered down and played to a degree. I like to look at it as analyze everything. All right. Analyze everything. Analyze what people are saying. Analyze the emotions you feel when it's being said. Analyze the emotions of others when they respond to what somebody else says. Analyze the tone and the way they say it. Is it to bring a certain emotion out of people, sometimes even as a distraction, right? Just analyze everything. It's more I can say to that. I'm going to leave it right there. Analyze everything. And so I've been analyzing everything as much as possible. And I've been analyzing that anytime Trump does something, it's always constantly being looked at as bad. And it seems like a lot of people getting on there And a lot of people's emotions is getting like bent out of shape. And so I've learned myself personally, and maybe one day you'll come to that same conclusion. But I started learning to just analyze when people come up and do the same stuff, say the same things on a particular issue or something going on in government or whatever. Just analyze there's a lot of things within that you can look at. And so with that being said, I'm not going to continue talking. We're going to get into it. I've been analyzing people talking about this big, beautiful bill, if you will. Big, beautiful bill. I'm going to talk like Trump a little bit. All right. And so I thought, man, instead of getting my emotions bound up and feeling like pissed off or mad or happy with what one person saying on TikTok, the live panel, or this person saying that, I say, yo, just go and try to hunt for the information and just put it out there in real time. And then I can kind of gauge my emotions when I'm reading the stuff. And when I present it to y'all, you can kind of gauge what I'm putting out on the screen and showing you. All right. So we're going to move it and do it like that. So with that being said, you're rocking with the best Thoughts of the Week podcast. We definitely going to get into it. Let's go. You're rocking with the best Thoughts of the Week podcast. Yeah, so we're going to definitely get into it. I know I'm looking like I got that soul glow with the look at the glow. Yo, bro, you got the glow. All right, so y'all excuse the soul glow. You know, when you got technology, you want to make everything look good and pop and all that. So, you know, sometimes you get the soul glow look. You the man, you got the juice now. All right. So yeah. The one big beautiful bill is tremendous. We love it. Everybody's gonna love it. Everybody's gonna love it. It's gonna be great. Great for everybody. It's gonna be great. It's beautiful. It's big. It's the one big beautiful bill. All right. Myths and facts. Fake news. Everybody's got fake news. All right. So yeah. With that being said, let's get into it, man. Let's take a look. And we're going to the website of whitehouse.gov. If you've got any other websites where this information is at, put it in the comments. Let me know. And I'll take a look at it. You know, in my spare time, I'll take some little glances at some things like, oh, okay, let me check out this source this person's putting out. But I'm going to the whitehouse.gov. All right. And we're going to check some things out today. You're going to learn today. All right. You're going to learn today. So let's put this on the screen. Let's cover the whole thing up right quick. There we go. And let's get into this, man. Okay. So the whitehouse.gov has an article called Myth versus Fact, the one big beautiful bill. Now, I would say this before we continue on. Let me see here. Let me say this. This doesn't mean we're going to believe it all because it's whitehouse.gov. Because what I come to the conclusion of through my analyzing everything and living a little bit is not everybody's going to be on the up and up. So that might even include the people who put together the article on whitehouse.gov. Either they're going to be real honest about it or they're not, or they're going to be semi-honest, give you 90% of the information truth and then 10% some BS. And one more other thing I would say, because you probably you hear me say it here, you hear me say it on my news channel, on my news channels. that always watch the words when you read them. When I said again, I said analyze everything. I have a code that I go by. All right. Practice self-reliance, be adaptable, gather information, which is what we're doing right now. It's 6 of them. I kind of forget sometimes what they are, but I have it written down. But one of them is analyze everything. So I say that to say, pay attention to words when you read them, because there can be some deception in the wording. When people talk, pay attention to the words, how they say it, and the way they say it, and the body language that comes with the way they say it. All right. That's what I'm going to say about that. And we're going to get into reading this now. All right. So again, the myth versus fact, the one big beautiful bill in my Trump voice, the one big beautiful bill, the myths and the facts. And let's get into it. All right. So first one is the myth, or they're going to go through the myth and break down the facts. So myth, the one big beautiful bill is just a tax break for billionaires. All right. You hear that all the time when government decides to do something. Everybody always feels like, and I guess it always seems to show like it's done for the corporations, the CEOs with the big money, the elite people. And so they're saying that it's a myth that the one big beautiful bill is just a tax break for billionaires. And they're saying the facts are the one big beautiful bill delivers the largest middle and working class cut in U.S. history. Now, I would say this on that, just that part alone. Instead of y'all getting in y'all feelings, because I know a lot of y'all do, and some of y'all ops use that to take advantage to confuse other people who are genuinely wanting to understand this stuff. So some of y'all ops play that game, but I'm on to you. So I'm going to expose you if others don't. All right. I'm down for whistleblowing and exposing anybody who want to cause confusion. And I won't say nothing. I was getting ready to say something else, but I'm going to leave that alone. Whether you Democrat, Republican, Independent, or somebody just want to try to run some game, we're not going to cause no confusion up in here. And when I see something I think is going to be something that an op can use to confuse some people who are honestly wanting to know stuff and not wanting to be tricked or anything like that, I'm going to expose it. And all the people who are honest about wanting to know things, pay attention what I'm saying. So if you happen to catch this when you're out and about talking to somebody, or you see something on a news show or whatever, or on a CNN or whatever, then you'll go, oh, okay, I remember when he said that. Yeah, that might be the little game the little ops be playing. So you can be well aware. So again, they're saying the fact is the one big beautiful bill delivers the largest middle and working class. Okay. The middle and working, that seems to be a little play, a game play on words, because the middle class can't be not working, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't really be in a middle class. I'm just thinking, I'm analyzing, I'm thinking through this sentence. You can't be middle. Isn't a separate class called middle class, and then you got a working class, is it? You could be a middle class and then lose a job and still be in middle class, maybe for a little bit until your financial situation gets worse. Then you won't be in the middle class anymore. You'll be in the lower class, right? So that seemed like a little gameplay with words to me. So the one big beautiful bill delivers the largest middle and working class tax cut in U.S. history. The president's legislation will put more than $10,000 a year back in the pockets of typical hardworking families. So you got the largest middle and working class, and they worded it as if there's two different groups. And then it's saying $10,000 a year put back in the pockets of typical hardworking family. What is a typical hardworking family? when part of the family is only includes kids is only 2 and 3 years old. Okay, how can it be hard working? They're not old enough yet. I'm just trying to break stuff like down to the very last compound. You know what I'm saying? So they're saying, but Trump's legislation will put more than $10,000 a year back in the pockets of typical hardworking families. This is the most pro-growth, pro-worker. They're for growth, they're for workers, they're for family legislation ever crafted. They're not con growth, con worker, con family. I'm just breaking stuff down. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try not to get too detailed and too long-winded on one particular area, because then we won't get finished the other ones. But I'm just showing you some things, and then maybe you'll, start looking at things a different way a little bit. All right, so that's the first one. The second one, myth: the one big beautiful bill takes from the poor to give to the rich. They're saying the fact is, low-income workers stand to receive the largest percentage reduction in their tax liability. The one big beautiful bill delivers the largest tax cut in history for working and middle class Americans. This is the second time they're using working and middle class. All right. Just peep it. This is the second time they use it. They use it on the first one, and they're using it on the second myth and fact. Let's go to the third one. Here's the myth: the one big beautiful bill makes life more unaffordable. But they say the fact is, the bill delivers bigger paychecks, expanding take-home pay by over $10,000 per year for a typical family. The word typical family shows up again. Okay. They need to make details of the details of the details. You got the time to put this up here on the website. Just break it all the way down. Let people take their time to read it. That's what I say. Well, let's go on to the next one. Myth: the one big beautiful bill hurts low-income families. So it seems like they keep trying to harp on, but these first four, low income, you're going to be worse off. Middle income is this. You're going to get 10,000. They keep harping on the $10,000, the low income, the middle income, the middle class, the working class. They seem like they keep repeating those words. So they're saying the one big beautiful bill makes life more unaffordable. They're saying that's a myth. But they're saying the real fact is the bill delivers bigger paychecks, expanding take-home pay by over $10,000 per year for a typical family. And my thing is when will this actually start affecting these so-called middle-class Americans and these working-class Americans and these typical hardworking families and these typical families? When will we start seeing all of this? Will it be after Trump leaves? And then if a Democratic president comes in office and things start looking good, watch out for that game too. Because Trump is doing all these things that seem like it's dirty, pissing people off. People are suffering. But then when another person becomes president and it happens to be an opposite party, and then all of a sudden things start looking good, you should start thinking, analyze. Remember I said, analyze everything. Was it because that new president came in and everything suddenly became good? Or was it because Trump put things in place? So once he leaves and the new president comes in, everything's going to start looking real clean and everybody's going to start prospering. See, that's when you got to start analyzing everything and thinking ahead and analyze everything ahead of time. I'm just saying, all right? Because I know that's going to be the gameplay. If a Democrat becomes president and stuff start looking good, they're going to start making it they're going to make some of y'all who don't think, who don't analyze, they're going to start making y'all feel like they just put in something real together and all of a sudden everybody's prospering, and they're going to forget about, wait a minute, how did that really happen? They're not going to ask those questions. They're not going to analyze and be analytical in their thinking. That's not going to happen. So some of y'all going to get tricked year after year after year. So let's get back. The myth, the one big beautiful, we going to the next one. Myth, the one big beautiful bill hurts low income families. They keep harping on low income, middle. They keep harping on this. Notice that. But the fact they're saying is the one big beautiful bill is the most pro-family legislation. What does pro-family mean? What does it really mean? On the surface, you mean that somebody who has their family intact. So only if you have husband and wife, or if you're dating and you're just together and you have a family, are they pro for that, or are they just strictly pro for married families? Is this all for them? See, there's so many questions that's in between they need to make super clear. But how honest would they really be, right? It will deliver bigger paychecks, they say. That's the facts. They're saying giving more than $10,000 again, $10,000 again, $10,000 boost annually every year to everyday families. So you got everyday families, you got pro families, you got typical families. All right. All these words. Remember, I said the word play. All right. The word gameplay, if you want to look at it like that. It says we are also expanding opportunity zones. They are also expanding opportunity zones, expanding child care access, increasing the child tax credit, and creating newborn savings accounts. I guess for newborn babies. All right, let's go to the next one. Like I said, I could talk about all of them, but I'll be taking 5 hours. The next myth, they say, the one big beautiful bill is just a handout to corporations. But they're saying the fact is, this bill drives a blue collar boom with tax relief for workers, support for small businesses, and investments in American manufacturing. Okay, I was going to say something. I'm going to leave. I'm just going to read it and you hear it and you just analyze it how you wish. The one big beautiful bill delivers the largest middle, again, same wording, and working class tax cut in U.S. history. They keep harping on those words, the same workaround words. They want it in your system. They want it in your mind for some reason. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it constructive? Is it destructive? Y'all look into it further. The next myth. The one big beautiful bill leaves American workers behind. That's a myth. The fact is, this is the most pro-American worker bill in history. The one big beautiful bill boosts pay for millions and with no tax on tips or overtime. No tax on tips, no tax on the overtime that anybody works. Those working hourly and service jobs receive additional tax relief. Okay, let's go on to the next one. The one big beautiful bill hurts small businesses. Now, they said earlier in a few of the earlier ones I read that it doesn't, but let's take a look. Here's the facts they're saying. The one big beautiful bill will make the Trump tax cuts permanent, including the small business deduction, helping Main Street grow and hire. What does that mean? Helping Main Street grow and hire. Who the heck is Main Street? Failure to pass this legislation would result in a $4 trillion tax hike. So they say. Next one. Myth. The one big beautiful bill kicks American families off Medicaid with a D, not Medicare, Medicaid. Fact. They're saying the fact is, as the president has said numerous times, there will be no cuts to Medicaid. The one big beautiful bill protects and strengthens Medicaid for those who rely on it. Pregnant women, children, seniors, people with disabilities, and low-income families, while eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. The one big beautiful bill removes illegal aliens enforces work requirements, and protects Medicaid for the truly vulnerable. All right. So it's on this website and we documented it with this video. So if anything changes or this website or this particular article disappears, you can refer back to this particular episode and verify it, that it was once on that website. Okay. So we're going to go on the next one. The one big beautiful bill cuts Medicare. The fact is, Medicare has not been touched in this bill. Absolutely nothing in the bill reduces spending on Medicare benefits. This legislation does not make a single cut to welfare programs. It safeguards and protects these programs for all eligible Americans. All right. So if you start hearing people say, oh, yeah, it's going to mess up Medicare, again, you can refer back to what I've just read. All right. You have some type of resources to go by. Next one, myth. The one big beautiful bill will close rural hospitals. The one big beautiful bill will close rural hospitals. Y'all forgive me about saying that word. But they're saying the fact is rural hospitals comprise just 7% of all hospital spending on Medicaid, illustrating that they have not benefited from the massive increase in waste, fraud, and abuse under the Biden administration. They're saying there was waste, there was fraud, and there was abuse by the Biden administration. By strengthening Medicaid, we are making more resources available for vulnerable populations and safety net providers like rural hospitals. We are expanding rural hospital protection, providing targeted funds for rural care, and giving states flexibility to support providers. Okay. All right. All right. Let's read some more. Myth. People will literally die from the one big beautiful bill. People will literally, this is the myth. I guess this is what some people have been saying. Myth. People will literally die from the one big beautiful bill, and millions will be kicked off their health care. But they're saying the fact is, this is one of the most egregious, if I'm saying that right, deranged attacks from the left, peddling fear over the facts. The one big beautiful bill protects eligible Americans on federal welfare. Who's considered eligible? They need to break that down, including Medicaid, with a D. By strengthening the integrity of Medicaid, I'm doing that on purpose. By eliminating waste, they keep talking, this is another thing that keeps being repeated. Waste, eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. Its resources can be refocused on providing better care for those whom the program was designed to serve: pregnant women, children, people with disabilities, low-income seniors, and other vulnerable low-income families. That's what they're saying the program was originally designed for. Again, pregnant women, children, people with disabilities, low-income seniors, and other vulnerable low-income families. All right, you got that. Let's move on. Myth. The one big beautiful bill will hurt people with disabilities. Seems like they're going down the list. I just told you the pregnant women, the children, people with disabilities, low-income seniors, vulnerable low-income families. You got the working class, the middle class, the typical families. You see all the wordings? See what I'm saying? You got to watch that and find out how you can get the information of those breakdowns as well. So you really can see if this is on the up and up. All right. So again, the myth, one big beautiful bill. Oh, yeah, one big beautiful bill will hurt people with disabilities. The fact is the one big beautiful bill protects and strengthens Medicaid with a D for Americans with disabilities. Strengthens or protects and strengthens Medicaid for Americans with disabilities. Rest assured, those with disabilities receiving Medicaid will receive no loss or change in coverage. All right, that's what they're saying. And again, I say, if this ever disappears from off the whitehouse.gov website, we got it documented on this episode, this particular broadcast. All right, so you can always refer back to this. The next myth, the one big beautiful bill punishes vulnerable Americans with work requirements to receive their benefits. And they're saying the fact is it's not true. The 20-hour weekly work requirement applies only to able-bodied adults without young children and promotes dignity, stability, and better health outcomes for families. The one big beautiful bill restores the dignity of work with historically bipartisan work requirements for able-bodied Americans. We are implementing common sense Clinton-era work, volunteer, education, or training requirements with broad bipartisan support. A lot of wordplay that should be broken down to even more definition so you can really get the full understanding. Myth. There's no fraud. There's no fraud in Medicaid. Republicans are just taking coverage away from vulnerable populations. But the fact is, in the last 10 years, CMS admitted that improper payments for Medicaid have exceeded $500 billion. So they say in the last 10 years, CMS admitted. Who is CMS? Put it in the comments. In the last 10 years, CMS admitted that improper payments for Medicaid have exceeded $500 billion. In just the past year, taxpayers spent $56 billion on benefits for able-bodied adults abusing the system. And over 1 million illegal aliens are receiving free health care on the backs of taxpayers. Make sure y'all go and verify that. All right? Because this is saying that over 1 million illegal aliens are receiving free health care on the backs of people who pay taxes, the taxpayers. And then you're going to have another group saying some other mess, right? Or they're going to agree that is true. One or the other. Either this is truth or this is a lie. So again, and over 1 million illegal aliens, this is saying this is the facts. Over 1 million illegal aliens are receiving free health care on the backs of taxpayers. The one big, beautiful bill removes illegal aliens, enacts work requirements for able-bodied adults, and protects Medicaid for the truly vulnerable. Who are the people that are truly vulnerable? They need to make clear. Let's move on. I've heard this word before, SNAP. I think that's the EBT, the cards and stuff like that. I think that's what that is. So the myth, they're saying SNAP work requirements are unnecessary. They said the fact is only 28% of able-bodied adults on SNAP work. The One Big Beautiful Bill promotes work, responsibility, and restores SNAP to serve the truly needy. The truly needy. SNAP enrollment remains high even in a strong economy, including millions of able-bodied adults who could work. In fact, almost 3/4 of able-bodied adults without dependents on SNAP, I think that is the EBT cards now. It used to be the paper, have no earned income. So I'm gonna read that one again. In fact, almost 3/4 of able-bodied adults without dependents on SNAP have no earned income. The mission of the program has failed. SNAP was intended to be temporary help for those who encounter tough times. We are strengthening this program to serve those who need it the most. Now, that made me think of something when I read that part. It said the group that's the most on this program are white folks. If I'm thinking what this is, the majority of people who are on this out of all groups are white people. So, and I mean, there's other groups of people on it, but they're saying as a whole, when you count the numbers, this group, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, French, whatever, whoever's out here, the majority of the group who benefits or who's in this program are white people. So are you saying Trump and the Trump administrations is that the mission of the program has failed and that SNAP was intended to be temporary help for those who encounter tough times? We are strengthening this program to serve those who need it the most. So if the majority of the folks who are on this program are white and they really don't need it the most, you're going to do something about that, right? Or just paperwork to look good. I'm just saying. Next one. In a myth, illegal aliens don't get federal benefits. They're saying that's a myth. The fact is, illegals burden taxpayers. So everybody who came across the border illegally, they try to use the front of we're getting away from wars and crimes and stuff going on, and that's why we coming over here. They didn't get one paperwork signed. They didn't make themselves legalized to be over here. They're saying the fact is illegals burden taxpayers with billions in costs for free health care. They're running the free health care thing again. They're running that back. Free health care and welfare benefits. The One Big Beautiful Bill ends Medicaid and SNAP fraud. It doesn't end Medicaid and doesn't end SNAP. It's saying they're ending the fraud that's going on with Medicaid and SNAP. So the One Big Beautiful Bill ends Medicaid and SNAP fraud and ensures these programs serve only eligible Americans. What does that mean? What is eligible? Who are the eligible Americans? What does that really mean? Right? Next one. The One Big Beautiful Bill doesn't actually end taxes on Social Security. It doesn't end taxes on Social Security. They're saying the fact is the One Big Beautiful Bill delivers historic tax relief to seniors with a new tax reduction that, combined with other deductions, ensures the average Social Security beneficiary will pay zero taxes on Social Security. Let's move on to the next one. They're saying myth. The One Big Beautiful Bill increases the deficit. They're saying that's a myth. The one big beautiful bill increases the deficit. They're saying the fact is the one big beautiful bill reduces deficits by over $2 trillion by increasing economic growth and cutting waste. There goes the cutting waste and fraud again. Cutting waste, fraud, and abuse across government programs at an unprecedented rate. Y'all like my Trump impression? All right. Continuing with this, the legislation delivers historic levels of mandatory savings. President Trump's pro-growth economic formula will reduce the deficit, increase wages, deliver American jobs, and drive down the cost of living. Okay. My question is, when will that start taking effect? When will this happen, and where people can start seeing these great changes and these beneficial changes for the working class, the middle class, the low income, the typical hardworking family? When will all these people start seeing that? Next, myth. But the CBO, which I think is Crooked Budget Office, that's Trump's words. You know, he got nicknames for everybody. But the CBO says that's considered a myth. The myth is, but the CBO says. I guess says otherwise, right? But the fact is, the Crooked Budget Office, I guess that's CBO, has a terrible record with its predictions and hasn't earned the attention the media gives it. The CBO misreads the economic consequences of not extending the Trump tax cuts. The one big beautiful bill delivers real savings that will unleash our economy and prevent the largest tax hike in history, resulting in historic prosperity while lowering the debt burden. All right. They saying all this, but when will this actually come into effect where people can actually start feeling it in their day-to-day workings and going about their day and working and seeing the finances looking like, yeah, we getting some money now. We in here, right? When will that take place? Let's go on to the next one. We're almost done that. Myth. There's too much pork in this bill. Just broad statements, right? There's too much pork in this bill. That's the myth. The fact is, there's no pork in the bill. Every single provision in the one big beautiful bill is a campaign promise the American people elected President Trump to deliver. The only new spending in the bill is to secure the homeland of the United States and save American sovereignty, which is fully paid for by increased visual fees on foreigners. I said visual, visa fees. So I'm going to read that one again. The only new spending in the bill is to secure the homeland. The only spending on this bill, the only new spending, putting out some dollars, is to secure the homeland of the United States and save American sovereignty, which is fully paid for by increased visa fees on foreigners. So I guess the amount of money foreigners need to pay on visa fees to get their visas, some of that money is going to be used to make America great again. Right? All right. Well, the next one. Excuse me. The one big beautiful bill won't strengthen national security. They're saying that's a myth. They're saying the fact is the one big beautiful bill delivers on President Trump's peace through strength agenda by funding the Golden Dome missile defense system. The Golden Dome missile defenses, I think that's something that they're saying Israel has now, as opposed to be some type of system that when rockets or anything starts coming in, you when you hear that, you think of that, you think about the cartoons sometimes where it's a big dome and anything that comes in that dome, and it'll just bounce off it and go somewhere else. It won't go through and hurt thousands or millions of people. So I guess it's like having an invisible fence of protection, so to speak. So they're saying that this one big beautiful bill delivers on President Trump's peace through strength, having peace which through using strength agenda by putting money into the Golden Dome missile defense system and modernizing our military to prioritize lethality, lethality and readiness. It fully equips our war fighters with the resources they need while modernizing and revolutionizing our equipment and technology. All right. Okay. Let's move on. Myth. So one big beautiful bill helps big oil. They're saying that this is a myth, that the one big beautiful bill helps big oil and locks up U.S. energy resources. But they're saying the facts are quite the opposite. They're saying it unleashes American energy, refills the strategic petroleum reserve, and repeals the Green New Scam policies. The one big beautiful bill unleashes clean, American-made energy and will reduce the cost of living for Americans nationwide. They're saying those are the facts. The next one, we're almost done here. Let me see, nationwide. There we go. Myth. Manufacturing jobs will still go overseas. Right? They're saying that's a myth. They're saying the facts are this bill invests in rural communities, expands market access, and delivers historic support to farm families. The One Big Beautiful Bill provides the certainty America's farm families need to continue operating and producing the affordable, safe, and abundant supply of food, fuel, and fiber that our nation relies on. All right. I hope it doesn't involve GMOs. All right. The next myth. Excuse me. SNAP. We're going back to SNAP again. SNAP is being gutted and cutting food stamps. That's what I think is SNAP. That's what I was going to say earlier. Isn't SNAPs the food stamps? SNAP is being gutted and cutting food stamps for families, causing them to go hungry. So if you hear a lot of people saying, oh, yeah, they're cutting the food stamps off and people are going to be out here starving. Now, that remains to be seen. But what they're saying is that's a myth. They're saying there's the facts of what they're saying. It really does. They're saying the One Big Beautiful Bill protects and strengthens SNAP. Right now, almost 3/4 of able-bodied adults without dependence on SNAP have no earned income, and the fraud rate is high. The mission of the program has failed. They're repeating that. They said that earlier. SNAP was intended to be temporary for those who encounter tough times. I read that earlier. Now it's become so bloated that it is leaving fewer resources for those who truly need help. We are committed to preserving SNAP for the truly needy. So if I'm gathering it right, they're saying like there's a bunch of able-bodied people that can get out here and work their butt, and they're not working. They're taking advantage of the food stamp system. They're not getting out here and making money. But the thing I'm thinking about analyzing what I just said and what I just read and how I'm interpreting what they're saying is, are they saying that there's going to be this abundance of jobs, or is what they're saying right now that right this moment there's so much abundance of jobs that all these able-bodied adults without dependents on SNAP have no earned income and the fraud is high, they cannot get out here and work? Are there enough jobs for that to be? I'm just saying. I'm just thinking. It's always good to think, right? Be an independent thinker. Think for yourself. Ask questions. And then watch the reactions when you ask them questions. All right? So that's what I'm saying. I'll read this one again. A myth. SNAP is being gutted and cutting food stamps for families, causing them to go hungry. They're saying that's a myth. That's either a lie or that's the truth. Now, here's the facts. They're saying the one big beautiful bill protects and strengthens SNAP. Right now, almost three-quarters of able-bodied adults without dependents on SNAP have no earned income, and the fraud rate is high. The mission of the program has failed, they're saying. This food stamp program has failed. SNAP was intended to be temporary help for those who encounter tough times. So if you encounter some tough times and you can get on the SNAP, the food stamps or whatever, it was meant for you to try to get yourself together, and it was supposed to be temporary. And when you got yourself together using the SNAP program, then you can get back out there and get in the workforce or start your own company, whatever, and let it blossom. Then you're supposed to leave SNAP alone. That's what I'm gathering. That's what my analytical thinking is saying by reading this. It's only supposed to be for tough times. My question is, what's considered tough times? What's the criteria for tough times? Now, it's become so bloated that it is leaving fewer resources for those who truly need help. We are committed to preserving SNAP for the truly needy. All right. Next one. Got two more to go. Myth. Republicans are shutting Democrats out of the legislative process. All right. You got the jackasses, the donkeys, and the elephants, right? Clashing on this one. So they're saying the myth is Republicans are shutting Democrats out of the legislative process, but they're saying the facts are this is not a partisan bill. Democrats shut themselves out by supporting high taxes, open borders, and giveaways to illegal immigrants. Oh, they're getting called out or what? Is this a truth or is it a lie? Are you going to go by emotions or are you going to go by facts? You're going to gather the information and sort out the facts within that information. Which one are you going to do? Are you going to go just by your feelings? You're going to get your feelings into it and say, oh, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. Or are you going to say, okay, I don't believe that. I think it's a lie, but let me go get the information and sort through the information and see what's factual, what's not factual. How many of y'all are going to do that? How many of y'all are getting influenced by the ops? Just saying stuff. All right. Again, myth. Republicans are shutting Democrats out of the legislative process. Fact. This is not a partisan bill. Democrats shut themselves out by supporting higher taxes. Okay, do y'all want higher taxes? Do y'all want open borders? And do y'all appreciate giveaways to illegal immigrants? Because they're saying the Democrats shut themselves out by supporting higher taxes, open borders, and giveaways to illegal aliens, but they're saying illegal immigrants. The one big beautiful bill delivers on Republican promises to lower taxes, secure the border, cut spending, and put Americans first. That myth and fact right there, y'all can have a whole show on. All of y'all who's watching and y'all have your own little shows, you could take that one right there and do a deep dive. You could take each one of them and do a deep dive and have episodes of shows for the next few months, for the rest of the year, probably. Let's go on to the last one. Myth. The one big beautiful bill border package, the one big beautiful bill border package is not necessary since President Trump has secured the border. They're saying that's a myth. I'm going to read that one again. Myth. The one big beautiful bill border package is not necessary since President Trump has secured the border. But they say the facts are, we must ensure that the invasion we witnessed as a nation under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris never happens again. The one big beautiful bill's historic investment in our border security ensures we permanently secure our border and protect our homeland by finishing the border wall, hiring 10,000 new ICE officers, and funding efforts to stop the flow of fentanyl. And incidentally, speaking about fentanyl, word is, because remember I said I kind of go by a code. One of those codes is to gather information, and the other code is analyze everything. And another code is be resourceful, practice, I forget what the other one, practice initiative, I think, be adaptable. So we're going to look at gathering information. The word is, on the south border, like Mexico and America, the cartels are really kind of lowering down their activities a little bit. And Canada is supposed to be the go-to place now where fentanyl is coming through. That's just information I gathered. All right. So I'm going to read this last one again. They're saying the myth is the one big beautiful bill border package is not necessary since President Trump has secured the border. But they said the facts are, we must ensure that the invasion we witnessed as a nation under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris never happens again. The one big beautiful bill's historic investment, putting some finances in, investment in our border security ensures we permanently secure our border and protect our homeland by finishing the border wall. But that's only from the south of Mexico, Trump, because activities are going on at the Canada-American border too. So does that include the Canadian-U.S. border as well as the U.S.-Mexico border? Hiring 10,000 new ICE officers and funding efforts to stop the flow of fentanyl, or fentanyl, however you want to pronounce it. And there we have it. All right. There we have it. So you guys let me know what you think about that. And that's a breakdown, because I'm tired of people just running their mouths. I want to get down to gathering the information and then sorting out what's facts, and on top of that, what they're saying in these myths and facts is so where myself and yourself can keep an eye on what they're claiming in these myths and facts. So you can go to the whitehouse.gov, right? Let me take a look at this real quick here. Let me just see something. Go to whitehouse.gov, and I think you can hit a little search, the little search mirror or whatever you want to call it. And I think you can type in the name of it, the one big beautiful bill, and this article pops up, and you can go through it yourself again. All right. Start gathering info and sorting out the information and see, because some of the facts in there, some stuff still need to be broken down further, but they're just kind of giving you some broad stuff and some general stuff at times. And just like I said, just like I did it, it's real simple, not hard. Ask questions. That's the basis of analytical thinking or critical thinking. Ask questions when you hear something or see something. Ask a question. You're not sure. You're like, okay, you might have your idea about it and you might understand it, but you want to break down further. Okay, what do you mean by that? Who are the typical families? Who are the typical hardworking families? What does that mean? You know, when you start getting detail like that, you'll start seeing a lot of people scatter. And when people start scattering, that's giving you intel as well. That's giving you information as well. If they don't want to break it down to the very last compound, see how it sounds? A little unrational. A lot of MCs like to use the word dramatical. All right. So they don't want to break stuff down to the very last compound. That's intel to you. That's that's information. You don't want to break it down what that means so we can get the full understanding. You just want to give us some broad stuff. Okay. And they could break it down because they're doing it on a site where people can look at it further. It's not like you're talking and maybe you don't have time to break a whole bunch of stuff down all the time. Maybe you can break certain things down and certain things you just got to keep it general because of time constraints. But you got time to put it on a website, break it all down. If it take 2 or 3 pages to read, you know, the one's going to really get the facts. They're going to go and read it and get the facts. The others are just going to speak on emotion and feelings. And some of the ops are going to use the fact that they know people move on feelings and emotions and not information and facts, or just not moving on information to break down what's facts or fiction in that information, right? But there are some people that you can come to and trust to kind of break stuff down for you, help you see something a little different that maybe you wasn't seeing. And you can depend on those type of folks, you know, because not everybody's going to do that. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. The one big beautiful bill, the myths and the facts. The one big beautiful bill. Okay, the facts, the myths and the facts. We love the bill. We love the one big beautiful bill. It's going to make everybody money. No person left behind. I broke down the myths and the facts for you guys. So yeah, let me know what y'all think. Put it in the comments. And when people start talking, then you got some ammunition to use against the people who might be running their mouths. All right. There you have it. I appreciate y'all. As always, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube, if you follow me and see me on Facebook. Follow me if you see me somewhere else. Follow me. All right. Subscribe wherever you might see me. I'm trying to be everywhere, even on article sites. You'll see my articles. As a matter of fact, go to thoughtsoftheweek.com or thoughtsoftheweekpodcast.com. And you can catch the articles, the websites right there on the bottom. Thoughts of the Week and thoughtsoftheweekpodcast.com. Either one you want to choose. Or you can go to bio.site/thoughts of the week. So all 3 of those, you can use any one of those 3. It'll take you to the Thoughts of the Week podcast website. And then you can check out the articles. You can see me in videos in the articles as well. All right. And I'm trying to be everywhere so you can get that information. All right. With that being said, appreciate y'all. Podcast 200. I got 200 podcasts in. I'm going for 5,000, baby. All right. Let's see how it goes. You're rocking with the best. Thoughts of the Week podcast. I'm gone. Peace.